Wonderful. So let's start with if you could share your name, your class year, and your major, and then your current profession.
Sure. So my name is Kim well, I guess I should say just to inspire them, I'm Dr. Kim LeDuff, and I am class of 1996 from Xavier University. My major was mass communication. Actually, my background was broadcast journalism. And I have had a very long career in higher education. And most recently, I served as vice president for academic engagement and student affairs at the University of West Florida, and just recently made the move back to my hometown of New Orleans as vice president of people and culture at the National World War II Museum.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, what led you to pursue your current career path? And I know you've been in a few different spaces. Kind of tell us about that.
Sure. Well, I was really, when I think about it, I was inspired during my time at Xavier. I was a mass communication and journalism major. I came in thinking I wanted to be a broadcast journalist, and it was actually one of my professors, Dr. Chris Campbell, who was chair of the department, and he really encouraged me. I remember I wrote an article, and it was little did I know I was doing media criticism, and he asked me, he said, "Have you ever thought about graduate school?" And I really hadn't. But that summer, I did a research program at Michigan State University where I shadowed a professor and worked on a research project. And I loved it. I think one of the things that I loved about higher education was the supportive environment. I often say that I had wonderful mentors. I had people who I'll never know who supported me through scholarships. And I'm forever grateful for that. And so that really inspired me to want to give back and pay it forward. And I think over the course of my career, I've been able to do that.
Wonderful. So, can you talk about how, in your role, you're able to advance issues of equity, justice, and some of those important principles that you learned here at Xavier?
Sure. So my career, like I said, my background was in higher education, but one of the areas that I really enjoyed working in was diversity and inclusion. And as a professor working with students from around the world, I got to see that a lot of students sometimes face challenges and it had nothing to do with their ability. It was just learning to navigate life, learning to navigate some of the challenges that we all face. And so that really got me started with diversity and inclusion work. And so I did that as a chief diversity officer, and in my current role as vice president for people and culture, that's essentially what I'm doing here at the World War II Museum, working with people to develop an inclusive culture to make sure that people are treated equitably, that they know what's available to them, what opportunities they have, and to really value the contributions that people from various walks of life bring to the table. And when I think about where that comes from, I think about Xavier because I think that was a wonderful experience. My classmates, the professors that we had who came from all over, really exposed me to the value of bringing people together from different backgrounds. But the most important thing was when we found those commonalities and we could work together and learn together in that environment. So I really do credit Xavier for that. I also think it was a super supportive environment. It means a lot when to this day I can walk on the campus and professors recognize me by name. Even when I came here, a colleague, her husband taught me, and he remembered me as a student. And so that felt wonderful. And, so I think that my experience at Xavier truly helped shape me. It helped me to find my voice. It helped me to know that I had something important to contribute to the world.
Oh, wonderful. So you spoke about challenges, right? So what challenges did you face or did you encounter along your journey?
I think, when you're young and in college, there are lots of challenges. You have the academic rigor of your courses, right? And so there were days where it was really hard sometimes, but, you have to keep pushing forward and, keep doing what you have to do and keep your eyes on the prize, that you're doing this because I truly believe that education has the power to change lives. And so I think it's really important to keep that focus. One of the things that always inspired me, my grandfather went to Xavier University preparatory school, and he hoped to go to Xavier University, but unfortunately, due to family circumstances, he ended up having to work. One of the projects he worked on was actually building some of the buildings at Xavier. So on a tough day, when I thought I had it bad because I had a hard test or I had to study, I thought about him working and building, when he was 19 years old. and it made my job seem a lot easier. And so that really did motivate me to do the work that I needed to do. And I also think, like I said, when I started college, I thought I wanted to be a broadcast journalist. I remember interning and saying, I don't know if this is for me. But I think one of the things that was very important was understanding that you don't have to feel pigeonholed by your major. You have a good, strong educational background that will take you anywhere you want to go. And so it's really funny for me even now to think that I ended up working here at the National World War II Museum, because never did I imagine that this is where I would end up. But I think it's important that you recognize the importance of learning to write well, to speak well, to present yourself, and just be open to what the world has to offer, because you never know where you'll end up.
Wow. So in terms of what you do professionally and civically, why is that so important to continue to advocate for various populations? And you're now in DEI work. Why is that so important to you, both professionally and in your civic and personal life?
Well, I mean, look at where we are right now. On top of a pandemic, we've had, a lot of political upheaval, racial upheaval, all of these things in our country, and it's a tough time. And I think it's really important that we learn not to be discouraged. I think it's really important that people find their voice and use that voice and make sure that they're heard. And I think as a leader in the D&I world, it's important to help people know the right moves, to help people speak across difference, is what I like to say, because, the reality is, I talked earlier about the importance of diversity, the importance of including people from backgrounds, from all walks of life, from different systems of belief. But we have to learn how to respect one another. We have to learn how to speak across difference. And sometimes, even though those difficult moments are hard, it's that tension that really propels us forward. And so we have to learn how to make the most of those moments. And I think that in my work, that's one of the most rewarding things, when you see those moments where you have people who are truly at odds coming together, and you're able to help them talk to one another, to express their thoughts and feelings, and realize that we may not always agree, but there is a way that we can move forward, and there is a way that we can respect one another. And so I think that, the work we do is constant. It's never going to go away. But I think it's very important that, we continue to fight the good fight, that we continue to do this work so that we can move forward as a society. And so that as individuals, we can continue to do our best and not be discouraged.
Wow, I love that. So I guess I would ask, in light of all of this, what would you like your legacy to be?
Gosh, when I think about it, like I said, I have always, said that I think that I've always done the work that I do in hopes that it makes circumstances better for someone else. I really do hope that, through my example and through my work, people can move forward. Having worked in education for a very long time, I always joke that I have kids, they're adults now, all over the world, and nothing gives me more joy than hearing of their success and seeing what they're doing and seeing how they're contributing to the world. And so I truly hope that if nothing else, people will remember that I did what I could to pave a way and make opportunities for those who come behind me, and truly because I'm so thankful for those who came before me.
Awesome. So speaking of those who came behind you, the young ones that are here now, what's one thing that you would like to leave with the current Xavier student?
Gosh, one of the things that I think is so important is there is nothing like being part of the Xavier family. And what I mean by that is get to know the people who you're in school with, get to know your faculty members, get to know alums, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone, I've lived all around the country, I've traveled the world, and it's always refreshing when you say, I went to Xavier University, and somebody pipes up, I did too. And we have this immediate connection. And I can't tell you how many times I've called on people who we may not have been at Xavier at the same time, but there's something special about that connection and something special about the experience that we all share. And so if anything, I would encourage, Xavier students, be proud of where you are and know that it is a wonderful legacy and it's going to take you far. But you have to be open, you have to be ready, and you have to just, take it as it comes, because you can't define the journey for yourself, right? And so, but there is nothing like that Xavier connection.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you
All
so
right, thank
much. That
you.
was awesome.